Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again. Simple man diagnosed with MPD, giving you the facts of narcissistic personality disorder and things that go on in my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. But keep in mind, I am no clinician, so I can only speak to my own experiences. Okay, so obviously I've talked about shame a lot on this channel because it is so predominant in my life nowadays. I have a lot of resentment towards kind of figuring out what my emotions are because when I didn't know what my emotions were, I didn't really feel shame. Obviously I felt it, but since I couldn't recognize it, that would just be brought out with anger and stuff like that, which was preferable. You guys imagine barely feeling any negative emotions and then, don't get me wrong, I was still miserable. And then being able to cover it up with anger and then one day just, oh fuck, shame. Oh my God, this is overwhelming. And it really is, right? I am ruled by shame. I will hide in my room for the slightest of criticisms. There's some days that I get insults on my channel and I can't do anything for the rest of the day because of just how distraught I get. Which also, fuck those people, but whatever. But it's really an awful way to live in a lot of ways. And so I've basically based my life around avoiding shame since I become cognizant of it. But as some of you guys know, I'm speaking for a division of the Norwegian government in a couple days. Well, not a couple days, a couple weeks. And or a conference for them. And while I'm talking to one of the people trying to set things up, I realize she mentions that, have you been able to find the area that shame is actually healthy and helpful for you? And my mind was fucking blown. I didn't even consider it. I didn't consider that shame had any useful applications other than making me miserable, which probably should have been, logical, but whatever. Because it is intolerable, even shame that is helpful. And now I'm left with the question, when is shame fine? When should I feel shame? I guess with constructive criticism, but I don't know, because there's also that embarrassment aspect of it. So should I feel shame in regards to constructive criticism? I don't really see the benefit of shame other than an enforcement of morality and stuff like that. And since I won't say I'm completely good at this point, but since relatively speaking, I'm pretty healthy in terms of my interpersonal relationships, not so much in my personal suffering, is it necessary for me to feel shame, period? I don't know. This is a question that's going to bug me for a while. I can't think of a single situation where I'm like, yes, this is a healthy feeling of shame. It doesn't feel like it can be healthy to feel negative emotions. And I know that's not true because these negative emotions can be helpful. But the distress that it puts you through doesn't feel constructive. This is difficult. This is really difficult. I can't, hopefully some other people can give examples of when they feel like shame was helpful to them. It does prevent me from doing certain things, right? But it prevents me from doing a lot of positive things too. And maybe that's the healthy versus unhealthy shame, where I need to use that to avoid doing toxic things, and not so much the positive aspects. But it doesn't feel worth it. It does not feel worth feeling shame. I can cognitively recognize oh, I shouldn't do things like that. And I can have no problem altering my behavior. And I don't need the enforcement of shame to do that. But it has to be adaptive at some level because shame wouldn't exist then. If shame wasn't helpful to us in some way, unless we just all made shame up for no reason, maybe we did, fuck that, we wouldn't have that emotion. Either way though, it's really fucking difficult to deal with. Because it's tied to literally everything. I can't go a day without reminding myself of some just very minor incidents in the grand scheme of things. And I am just haunted by the shame. I just want to fucking hide my head and just not see anybody. It's such a hard emotion to describe. I guess all emotions are pretty hard to describe. And it's very easy to confuse with guilt, or at least it used to be, which is hilarious. Just that feeling of being innately flawed. That doesn't seem like... I guess maybe the feeling of being inherently flawed is toxic shame. Because that's just how I relate to feeling shame, though. It's just when I feel like I am flawed. Maybe I should feel shame about my actions. Is it possible to feel shame about your actions? Isn't that just guilt? Or is there some more nuanced difference there that I'm not picking up on? I am just asking a lot of questions in this video. Sorry, like I literally just got off that call this morning and I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this. But that being said, fear of shame is not how I should be living my life. And it is how I'm living my life. And to some degree, it's always been how I live my life. I just had different ways of coping with it back then. Nowadays, I try to run from it. I don't just want to feel the shame. That's intolerable. I feel like shame is why I get so upset when my roommate fucking interrupts my videos. Sorry, I just said that because I heard something outside. I'm like, no, please don't come out. I feel so embarrassed and ashamed. Yeah, that's probably it. It's probably shame is why. And I wonder if there's situations where I'm still not, maybe the shame is too intense and I legitimately maybe just go into straight denial or anger and stuff like that, and I can't even separate them. Because I have a friend who mentioned to me that, like, I was like, because like people are always like, oh, narcissists deny everything, and I don't really think I've done that much. I can see how I've minimized things and disregarded them, but straight up denial. And one of my friends said that, I was like, and they were just kind of like, I asked them, I was like, do I do that? And they're like, oh, well, depends on how much shame is involved. I'm like, yeah, fucking makes sense in the long run. Yeah. So I wonder how much the shame is still altering my reality testing and my perception. I wonder if that happens to other people. I'm sure other people in face of great shame can go into denial. And I guess shame is primarily driven by insecurity, I imagine. Well, yeah, I guess it is, because the insecurity is just like, you're not good enough. And what is shame other than a feeling that you're not good enough? Because as I said, I think that narcissism is just the extreme of defenses against insecurities. God damn it. I hate videos where I'm like not really explaining anything. I'm just kind of like, what if this? What if this? What if this? I feel like I have way too many videos like that. At least, hopefully you guys get something out of those questions, because right now, I'm not. Healthy shame. It sounds like an oxymoron. It really does. Shame and healthy seem opposite of each other. Maybe you can, I don't know, maybe the answer is that you can feel shame about your actions, but I am only my actions. Who am I if not my actions in the moment? Who am I if not, or how people are interpreting my actions, more accurately, I would say. Healthy shame. Well, something to think about at the very least. Take your fucking meds, guys.